Okay, yeah, with the 15-minute, or at least approximate 15-minute limit, I gotta be aware of that. So that's gonna kind of impact my plans on this game, especially in regards to fights, because I definitely want to include fights that I think are interesting, like one fight each game month or something like that. It won't be, every single fight in the game, but I'll definitely show you the layers, interesting tactical combats against monsters, the dungeons, of course, and, the overland travel where it's appropriate. Like, for example, once I get through taking care of the necromancer on the first island. So, alright. Inspect. Oh, yeah, before I inspect the next guy, they changed treat poison and treat disease to some extent. Treat poison is a little bit easier to take care of that status for a character, but treat disease for that is that if we're not successful in treating a disease, whoever is affected, which could be more than one character, if we can't cure it, eventually time will, but uh, if a character is diseased, fatigue for that character will accumulate. So basically that means that they'll get less and less effective with their skills. So after the disease runs its course, the character is really ineffective for the most part, which is ideally why you want to get an item. You won't get it at least in the first island, but you want to get an item that improves your treat disease skill. What we'll do is we'll have one character improve it to at least 250, and then we'll rely on an item to take care of any conditions where we can't cure it the first time. But anyway, and this guy, so this is another fighter, and they gave him a two-handed sword. So without luck, being a priest, that means every single monster is going to be ganging up on this guy, and that's probably not a good idea because, without luck and without a shield, he's going to take damage even with a two-handed weapon. So you're better off, if you're going to do two-handed weapons, do them with a priest so that, get as much of a problem with disease of two-handed weapon. I mean, there are some pretty good two-handed weapons in the game. Don't get me wrong. I actually know several good two-handed weapons in the game, but we won't get those immediately. And let's see. There's our thief, and as we see in the next display, he no longer has, like I said, haggle. That's gone. Some skills, but for a thief, having mace, not a good idea, mainly because there is a weapon in the early part of the game that will let us use turn undead, so we want to definitely give that type of weapon to a priest. So mace for anybody else is pointless. And as you can see, there's some other skills, stealth scan, what have you. Now, default characters or characters that you create, they always have 100 in like the minor skills, and then they'll get 200 points in their major skills, and they have, if I'm not mistaken, 250 experience points to spend on whatever skills that you desire. Now, it's not bad. You can actually do well with the default party, but the whole point that of me going to Wizard's Crown was to import that party into this game so that I can utilize them. And of course, pretty much crush a lot of monsters. But we'll be playing on the hardest difficulty, so we won't get as much experience on hard that we will on the easy difficulty. So definitely do, I'd say, medium to easy with any new parties, but hard is meant for characters that have gone through Wizard's Crown. Or if you can hex edit characters, and you might want to play it on hard, but I don't recommend hex editing. Not that I can't do it, but it spoils the fun of the game. So yeah, you can have everyone that's super powerful. Gee, so what? And pretty much know the hex locations in regards to like weapons and what have you, improve them to ridiculous levels. But I'm not gonna do that sort of thing. That's gonna rely on the game's default stuff. So now I'm not 100% sure if the game difficulty will affect the items and treasure that we find or not. It may or may not, because I have 2 characters with search and 2 characters with track, because track is used for monster lairs and search is used for like any time that we're going through fights or in dungeons and what have you. So anyway, let's go to the next guy. Yeah, that's the thief. And this is okay. Sorcerer Ranger. So that's not entirely bad. You can't get away with Sorcerer Rangers in the back row, but I wouldn't recommend it, mainly because, as I mentioned earlier, that there are shields that we can use with bows, even though bows are two-handed weapons. So I think that's more of a feature because the game is kind of forcing you to pay attention to stuff. So anyway, oh yeah, I almost forgot about hunt. So there's track. Again, monster lairs. Hunt is used every time that we camp. So whenever a day is done, we will rest up, and depending on the hunt score that we have, we may or may not have a successful hunt, which lets our characters use ration so that they don't accumulate fatigue. So fatigue's the big character debilitator, like morale loss was in the first Wizard's Crown. There's alchemy. It is useful somewhat, but our big use for alchemy will be just like in Wizard's Crown at the end of the game. So you could use it earlier if you want to, but you're going to find so many items, and then like will cast a spell, especially the mass damage spells, that you're better off just using those and not worrying about alchemy until the final part of the game. Alright, who's left? Inspect G. He's got a hammer. Max Karma 326. That's not too bad. Trinidad, all this stuff. Can't think of much to say about this particular character. Inspect H. Yeah, this guy is really weak, but sorcerer, priest, ranger, ridiculous. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. Fighter, priest, fighter, sorcerer, or fighter, thief, ranger, whatever. Those are good combinations. Now, we will definitely be using up all the space in our backpack. Even with 80 items, we'll fill up because we have to ideally take care of the necromancer who is, basically has control of the first island. And until we kill him, we can't use the services of the first town, which would mean like selling items, what have you, for gold. So you could try and rush and kill the necromancer, but then you're going to be losing experience, gold, and items for doing that, and that's not really worth it in my opinion. So, alright. I'm actually nearing another cutoff point. Got about 2 minutes at least from my time. What can I say in 2 minutes? Oh yeah, with strength, every 4 points of strength past 16, we get an additional damage point. So dexterity is limited to 50. Max life is to 250. We're not going to have anyone go to 250 life. It's just not worth it. And, like I said before, max power is 500. Max karma is 500. So, now I don't know if there's a limit to strength. There might be 100. I'm not entirely sure. Like I said, I know dexterity is 50, so 100 might be, or 99 might be for strength, but you're never ever going to see it, and you can't reset the game to start it from the beginning after you finish Eternal Dagger. So once we're done, that's it. That's our party, and we can't develop them any further. So, alright, it's getting close to another cutoff point, so I'm just going to let you go. I'll talk to you again shortly.